What is going on, everybody? What is going on, the Catch fam? Hope everyone is doing phenomenal tonight, man. Hope you guys are having a great Friday. Hope everyone is gearing up for a fantastic weekend. You guys already know what time it is, baby. It's time for another round of live week 3 fantasy Q&A. So y'all know what to do, man. Hit that like button on the way in. Hit that subscribe button, of course, if you are new to the channel. And hop in the live chat, man. Let me know what's popping. Let me know how everyone is doing. Let me know fancy questions you guys have got headed into the weekend. Let me know how you guys are feeling about your current rosters. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk some fantasy football. I'm excited to be here. So, it's Friday, so we might hop into some underdog action as well for those of you who are interested. So I'll give it some time, and then, excuse me, we might have some time to roll into a couple contests here. I don't know if any of the, if there's any active, like the Resurgence drafts are already over. Yeah, we still got Best Ball Resurrection. I don't know why I said Resurgence, but that might be a fun one to hop into for tonight. All right, let's see who's in the building. Pray, what's up, my guy? Hello, hello. We got Jute in the house. What's up, man? How's it going? Steven, not on as often as myself. Usually if he's on, it's going to be like Wednesday or Thursday. So just myself for the night. Godfather, what's up, bro? Good to have you in the house. What's up, what's up? Anthony, what's going on, man? Good to have you. What's up, dog? Hello, hello, hello. Jados, what's up, man? Yeah, I was thinking Best Ball Resurrection. Yeah, too much COD Resurgence. That's probably exactly what it is. So, let me know, guys, how you guys feeling about your rosters? How you guys feeling at this point in the week? We are about, what, less than 48 hours away from kickoff. So, interested to get how, feel out there for those of you, and, if you guys are feeling confident headed into the weekend. I feel pretty okay. I went 4-0 last week, so I felt pretty good about that. But I started the Steelers defense in like 3 of my leagues. I don't know why. I really don't know why. I knew they weren't going to have a good game, but I thought maybe there's a chance the Browns played poorly. Without TJ Watt, the Steelers defense is just literally like non-existent. It really is. I was looking at some crazy stats about I think the Steelers without Watt, like, they haven't won a single game since he's been on their team. He's such a difference maker. I mean, I thought their defense would be okay, but boy, do they look bad. So yeah, I started the Steelers defense in like 3 leagues, so don't recommend doing that this week, although it's probably too late. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I like where all my teams are at right now, but that's a really bad start to the week for 75% of my teams. Pray injuries are killing my team. Uh-oh. J-Dubs, I'm glad you did. Yeah, I have him against you, man. So, I'm glad it gives you a nice little head start for sure, man. For sure. It'll be a nice matchup this weekend. David, what's up, bro? I'm playing JJ, Chase, Kelsey, Herbert, and Chubb. I'm screwed. Yeah, that's a tough one. It's a tough matchup for sure. That's a nice little squad. Yeah. Well, you never know. It's not over till the fat lady sings, It's a beautiful thing about fantasy. It's not over till it's over, right? Who should I start at flex? Higbee, Penny, or Adam Thielen? Pray. I would not start Penny. I'm not confident in Penny whatsoever. I'm not against Higbee in the flex. I'm really not. But you probably have to go Adam Thielen here. I mean, Thielen just extremely disappointing to start the year. 6.6 points in full PPR in week 1, 9.2 in week 2. He gets Detroit. I like the matchup. I probably go Adam Thielen. It's definitely Thielen, Higbee, then Penny. You're not starting Penny. Jeez, I'm feeling good, but I'm 0-2 because of Folk and Najee. Yikes. Gonna try trading Najee for Swift, but it's gonna be hard. You're going to give up a little bit more than just my guy Najee. Yeah, Kittle's supposed to play, says J-Dubs. Let's go. For those of you waiting on George Kittle, it's Kittle time. Derek in the house. What's up, man? Price says Higbee popped off last week. Yeah, he played well in week 1 also. So 8.9 in week 1, 14.1 in week 2. He's got 20 targets on the season, 12 total receptions. So, yeah, he's playing good football. 110 receiving yards through 2 games. So, I mean, if you're really confident you want to start him in the flex, I'm not against it. But don't be surprised if he has a game like week 1 where he only gets you 8.9 points, you know? Like, it might be a safer floor than Adam Thielen, but the ceiling's a lot lower. What are your thoughts on Michael Thomas this week? I mean, I really feel like Michael Thomas at this point in the season is a must-start on a weekly basis, you know? He's your wide receiver 10 in full PPR, 22.7 points in week 1, 18.5 in week 2. I'm not afraid of any of the corners on Carolina. I think is a perfectly fine start in week 3. Yeah, I think Michael Thomas probably has to be in your lineup. Do I start Garrett Wilson or Judy if he plays in half PPR? You probably go with Judy if he plays. You probably do. I think Judy's a safer floor. Wilson gives you a little bit more upside. If you're worried about Judy, I mean, he's questionable as of an hour ago. So if you're worried about re-injury, then just go with Wilson. Pittman and Connor might be playing. It's a good call. We can take a look at the injury report here as well. Steven in the house. What's up, Steven? Favorite kind of cheese? You know what I really love? I love some goat cheese. I'm telling you guys, goat cheese is underrated. It's so good. I had some pizza last night with goat cheese on it, and it was quite good. So, let's see here. I have Kamara, Mixon, Hunt, Gibby, Robinson. Was offered Etienne for Gibson in full PPR. Should I take it, or do you think Gibson will hold his value for a few more weeks at least? Yeah, as long as Robinson's not on the field, he's going to hold that value for sure. I mean, if you believe in Robinson over Gibson, I think the trade is fine. But with the way that Etienne has played on the season so far, like, you should be able to get an additional piece the way Gibson's playing. Like, at the moment, Gibson holds more value. Like, I would rather have Gibson on my roster right now than Etienne. But again, if you're playing for the long game, Etienne might come on. He might. Robinson has looked really good. Trade Ayuk and Walker for Hall. Fair trade, or what should I do? I mean, I don't think it's an unfair trade, but you run the risk of Walker like really coming on and being an RB1 and Breece Hall sticking in a committee, you know? So I don't think you lose a ton of value with Ayuk leaving, but you're losing some potential value in Walker, which is probably why you're getting Hall for a pretty low price. I mean, personally, I do like the trade. I would do the trade, Nick. Like, I'm not against it. I would rather have Hall than Walker and Ayuk. Kind of, you know, Ayuk still has that nice upside, but the consistency is just far away, you know. And Walker is still a question mark. He could work out. He might not work out. So, any idea why Josh Jacobs didn't travel team? Asked Steven. I did not see that. I feel like Steven's purposely calling out my squad that I have Josh Jacobs on. But let's see here. Woo! Josh Jacobs questionable, not traveling with team. So he has an illness. The list is questionable for week 3 against the Tennessee Titans. Did not travel with the team on Friday. Jacobs missed practice the last 2 days with an illness. Now firmly in doubt for Sunday's game against Tennessee. Oh, maybe a good time to pick up our boy Zamir White. The good news is we'll know early on Sunday whether or not Jacobs will be active. If he ends up playing, Jacobs will be in play as an RB2 for fantasy managers, but if he's ruled out, expect some combination of Brandon Bolden, Amir Abdullah, and Zamir White to share backfield duties against the Titans. It's a good call from Stevie Boy. Let's see here. Pray says be quiet, Steven. Steven already picked up our Zamir White in our league. Steven says to trade Gibson for ETN. Should I play Hawkinson or Pitts. Man, I'd probably go Hawkinson here. Is anyone out there confident in starting Kyle Pitts? For those of you guys who are Kyle Pitts owners, like, how confident are you? Steven says to start Pitts. Is Steve Scott our Steven or a different Steven? That's our Steven. Josh Jacobs has an illness, so it could be just to keep him from getting the team sick. Okay, that's a good point. Derek picked up Zamir White earlier. I like it. J-Rob or Dillon, week 3 standard scoring. I will go James Robinson. You have a better chance of a touchdown with James Robinson. I traded A.J. Brown and Curtis Samuel for Jamar Chase. Did I win? I mean, you got Jamar Chase. You got the best player out of the entire trade. But, I mean, as long as your receiver depth is good, you know, like, you should be fine here. I mean, but if it's not, then A.J. Brown and Curtis Samuel, as long as they're healthy, are going to play very, very well in the season. So maybe you lose some depth, but you got the best player out of the trade. Should I drop Jeff Wilson for Zamir? I wouldn't personally. I'd rather have Jeff Wilson because as long as Mitchell's out, he's a clear-cut number 1. You know, Zamir White is a hypothetical number 1, but, you know, as we read here, you're going to see Amir Abdullah and Brandon Bolden in the mix as well. Steven likes the matchups. They get Tennessee. I mean, that's a good call. It's a good call. It's a good matchup. But at the moment, I'd rather have Jeff Wilson B-dubs. Traded Ever for Pitts. Kind of already regret it. Derek, I would start Pitts. Steven's saying matchup. Maybe he likes Pitts in that matchup. Maybe that wasn't in terms of Zamir White. Pitts does have a good matchup this week, so you would hope he would bounce back. I think I put him as a sit. The starts and sits. I mean, he gets Seattle. It is a good matchup, but it's just like, if you have a better option, I would sit back and watch what happens. You know, if it was our Steven, if I was being rude to a random person. Russell Wilson or Matthew Stafford or Tom Brady. Ricky, I will go with staph infection. Actually, I have Brady and Wilson as sits. I have Stafford as a start. I like the game script. I like the matchup. I would go staph infection. Would Elijah Moore for Breece Hall work? If you're asking my opinion if it's a good trade, it is a good trade. Would it work? That depends on, you know, the personal fantasy manager that you're trading with. How bad do they need a receiver? Elijah Moore has not been extremely productive from a fantasy perspective with Flacco at the helm. So you're playing the long game there, right? But yeah, it's a good trade. Our team is screwed this week. What's up, Kenobi? Evans is suspended. Renfro's out. Mooney is ass. Yeah, Renfro is out, which is not good. Renfro really disappointing so far this year, excuse me. Steve, I feel like you joined the chat to just ask John questions that hurt his brain. Tyler Lockett or Damien Pierce at flex and full PPR. I'm not against Lockett this week necessarily. I mean, he has a good matchup against the Falcons. Metcalf should see the majority of A.J. Terrell. Lockett had a good week last week. 11 targets, 9 receptions, 107 receiving yards. He didn't have that bad of a game. Like, I mean, he had a bad fantasy game in week 1, but, you know, he still caught 75% of his passes. It didn't have a great game by any means, but... so I'm not against Tyler Lockett if it's full PPR. Damien Pierce, like, 11 rushing attempts in week 1, 15 in week 2, 69 rushing yards on the ground last week, 4.6 yards per carry, no touchdowns on the season, 1 reception each game. He gets Chicago, so he's kind of, an attractive name to break out on the week against Chicago. I think the safer play is Lockett. But you're going to see a lot of, like, Damien Pierce floating around in contention for a starter this week. J-Dub's rolling with Pierce against the Bears. Yeah, I'm not against it. Underdog really milking these best balls out for sure. Steven talking about when he damaged my nose when we were young. Yeah, he like pinched my nose really hard, and there's like a little piece of cartilage that still moves around in there. I feel like Kadarius Toney would get injured with that kind of injury. So there's an update on Kadarius Toney that's really weird. He had it was like something I read. Did not practice on Friday. Toney was downgraded from limited to did not practice. Not a promising outlook for the sophomore wideout, but he was downgraded in practice, which you very, very rarely see, like somebody get downgraded from limited to did not practice within a practice. I don't know. From what I was reading, it's just not typical. Let's see here. God is good. Tight end play, Thomas or Conklin. I probably go Thomas by a hair, but they're both good streaming options. I have both of them as streaming options on the tight end video for the week. So Conklin gets Cincinnati, which is a pretty good matchup overall. And he seems to be one of Joe Flacco's favorite targets. 7 targets in week 1, 9 in week 2. So I do like Conklin. I still feel like, risking it, or it's a little risky when it comes to Jet starters. But Thomas, on the other hand, 6 targets in week 1, 5 in week 2 against Philly. It's definitely a tougher defense, but I like when NFC East teams match up against each other. So I think both are good options. The matchup is probably better for Conklin as a whole. Should I trade Gibson for Kittle, or what level wide receiver for Gibson? I mean, I think Gibson for Kittle is a pretty good trade if you need tight end help. I'm not against it. What level of wide receiver? You should be able to get a pretty decent wide receiver. But, Gibson has such a hypothetical around him that you're not going to be able to get a stud in the majority of leagues, like DK Metcalf, Allen Robinson, maybe a Brandon Cooks. Those would probably all be good options. Devonta Smith. Maybe a combination of one of those guys and like a Treylon Burks. I mean, Gibson is still holding really good value. He's playing good football right now. Regardless of if he's going to be entered into a committee with Brian Robinson or not. He's still your RB13 so far on the season, so you should get pretty good value. I think Kittle is fair value. Corey, Christian Kirk, Curtis Samuel, Michael Thomas, start one. That is a tough one. I mean, you're in a good conundrum here. These are 3 very good players to start overall. Oh, goodness. It's probably Christian Kirk by a hair. I go Kirk, Thomas, Samuel. It's close here. Oh, man. Christian Kirk's wide receiver 8. 17.7 in week 1. 25.8 in week 2. 12 targets week 1. 6 in week 2. 117 receiving yards in week 1. No scores. Week 2, 78 receiving yards, 2 scores. Michael Thomas, on the other hand, is wide receiver. He's wide receiver 10 full PPR. So, 8 targets week 1, 9 week 2, 57 receiving yards week 1, 65 week 2, 2 scores week 1, 1 score week 2. So 22.7 in week 1, 18.5 in week 2. They're definitely both really strong starts. Curtis Samuel is playing good football as well, but he's still inched out by those 2 receivers. Curtis Samuel coming in as wide receiver 11, so not too far off. I mean, gosh, he's playing good football too, man. So it's definitely a good problem, and it's definitely an understandable problem. But I probably just statistically go with Christian Kirk, but you could get through with any of these guys. It's a good problem to have, Corey. Start Irv Smith or Naheem Hines. I'd probably go Irv Smith, Kenobi. What's up, Jerry? Hey, everyone. Since you're on the Raiders, how do you feel about Adams this week? What's up, Jerry? It's good to have you here, man. I'm good with that. I mean, Adams is a must-start every week, man. Like, there's no doubt about it. He gets Tennessee. This is probably the best matchup he's had all season long. Week 1 at the Chargers. Week 2 at Arizona. Tennessee is very, very bad right now. Very bad. So I'm good with Adams this week. I think he could have closer to what you saw week 1 and less of what you saw in week 2. Kittle or Everett? The safer floor is Everett. The upside is with Kittle. Let's see. Got offered Josh Jacobs and Allen Robinson for Deontay Johnson. I will keep Johnson. It's offering Eckler plus Johnson and Higgins overpay for JT. I would say yes. Yeah. I mean, you're going to hurt your receiver depth pretty bad there. Eckler is going to be just fine on the season. It's been a little bit slower a start than you'd like to see, but he's going to be fine. Thielen or Burks in half PPR? Well, I feel like Thielen has a better chance of scoring, so I'd probably go Thielen. But it's close. It's close. What's going on with Gabe Davis? The update here. Gabe is questionable for week 3. Oops. There we go. Trying to make this. There we go. Questionable for week 3. Ankle injury, of course. Was limited in practice all week. Is listed as questionable for week 3 against the division rival Miami Dolphins. Yeah, we know he missed Monday night. Not a good update in terms of, like, clear information. Not much to see here, Steven. I wish I had... I mean, I do own him in the league, so I actually would like to know. So this goes a little bit further than me potentially helping out Stevens. Actually, it's personal. So let's see here. Gabe Davis. Injury. Well, this is more recent than anything I'm finding online. So it doesn't look like we have a clear update for you there, Steve. How do you feel about Pittman and Andrews this week? Well, I sure hope Pittman plays. Let's see if there's a new status on Pittman. It's cleared for week 3 as of 3 weeks, 5 hours ago. He gets Kansas City. I think Kansas City's gonna have a good day, man. But you have to start Pittman. 13 targets week 1, 9 receptions, 121 receiving yards, and a score. You have to start Pittman. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. He's in your lineup. I'm good with him for sure. I think Kansas City's going to have the better day overall, but Pittman should get his opportunities. Andrews is a must start, man. He gets New England. He's tied in 2 on the season so far. Surprise. Is it my favorite matchup he's had this year? Not necessarily, but I mean, is New England's defense like playing that well? Are they playing well against tight ends? I don't quite think so, but I like him more this week than next week against Buffalo. That's for sure. They'll both be fine. They're both starters for me. I feel about Eckler if Herbert is out. It's a good question, actually. I think Eckler will be fine. Hopefully the Chargers have to rely on the run game a little bit more. We'll see. We'll see. But he should get the volume. He should get the touches. So we should be good there, man. I'm an Eckler owner as well. I'm not too concerned. Andrea, what's going on? Hello, hello. If Herbert is out, is there anyone on the Chargers you would start outside of Eckler and Williams? Is Everett and Palmer irrelevant? That's a great question. It's a great question. You might... Palmer is probably irrelevant. And that's the other thing, right? Like, Keenan Allen might not play in this game. So, there are players, outside of if Herbert plays or not, who could be affected, like Palmer getting that little bit of a boost. So, Keenan Allen is listed as questionable to play in Week 3 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Is limited in practice on Wednesday and Thursday before sitting out on Friday. Head coach Brandon Staley said that Allen's 50-50 to play on Sunday. So you're basically rolling the dice is what this is getting at. So it's a good question, Steven. I think that Eckler... Ooh, Mike Williams is probably going to take a little smack in productivity as well and value. So man, we need Herbie out there. We need Herbert to play. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, I would, to be honest, every one of the Chargers' value takes a dip, and I do think that Everett, there's a chance that Everett is just as productive. A lot of backup quarterbacks like put faith in the tight end position, so and they need that player to kind of dump off to, you know. So like it's kind of risky with Everett, but it's definitely something to think about. Like all those Chargers players are going to take a little bit of a dip, right? I mean, they have to. So that's something we're going to think about going into Sunday. And the Chargers-Jags game is a 4 o'clock game. Of course it is. So we're going to have a little bit of a delay probably in terms of if we know when Herbert's going to play. Should we buy the Garrett Wilson breakout? 100%, man. 100%. But if you roll the dice and you don't, you might have an opportunity to buy him a little bit lower, where like if you're going out and you're shopping for Wilson right now, coming off of a 30-point game, you're definitely paying a higher price, right? Kind of salty that Najee couldn't get one more reception. That was my last parlay to win 100. Oh, man. I'd be salty, too. Andrea, DJ Moore, Cortland Sutton. I would definitely go with Cortland Sutton. J-Dub's trying to trade. Should I trade Zeke for Hollywood? Yeah, I love that trade. I would definitely take Hollywood over Zeke right now. Oh, that must be Stephen. What's up, Cinnabon? Hello, hello. Let's see. What do you about Chase Daniels? I have Herbie, Mike Williams, Everett, and worried he will sink my team. Okay, so we kind of just touched on that, right? So he might sink your team this week. I'm not going to lie. Oh, I'm a little bit worried about the Chargers, man. I'm a little bit worried about Herbert fully loaded. Oh. Yeah, so I know that Chase Daniels took first-team reps today. Herbert was throwing on Tuesday, did individual drills on Wednesday, was spotted throwing on Thursday, which is great news. Biggest question will be how functional the third-year quarterback will be if he's given the green light to play on Sunday. Not a long-term injury, but it's a painful one. Plan is for the 24-year-old to work out before Sunday's game to determine if he'll be able to go, which puts fantasy managers in a bind with LA's game coming on the later slate of games. Wow. That's all I have to say. Gabe Davis. Let's go, Derek. Someone dropped Davis because of injuries. Yeah, good thing you picked him up. That's ridiculous. Cinnamon, I think Herbert should be fine. He might not play this week, but I will bet that he will come back next week. Yeah, overall he's going to be fine. Like, your team's going to be fine overall, but you might be taking a little bit of a... You might have to make some, like, very quick decisions going into the weekend. You might be taking a little bit of a slight kick this week. What do y'all think of that Pickens catch? It was beautiful, man. It's a great catch. Definitely something I would never be skilled enough to do. Connor, Sanders, or Juju for my flex spot. Michael, if Connor is healthy, he's fine, but Sanders is the safest play here. It's definitely not Juju, in my opinion. If Connor plays, I probably personally would go Connor, but I don't mind Miles Sanders there. He's been very consistent on the season so far. So, Connor gets the Rams. Not the best matchup. It's not the worst. Miles Sanders, on the other hand, is going to be in a high-scoring game, a good game script against Washington. He's RB13 on the season in full PPR, 18.5 points in week 1, 11.6 in week 2. I don't mind Sanders at all right there, man. Gonna have to pick up Mariota as a Herbert owner. That's such a bummer, man. Dak owner dropped him because of his injuries. He worth picking up. Got Brady and Cousins, 100%. Yep. 100% worth stacking Dak. Really, like, regardless of who your quarterback is, he's worth stashing. Excuse me. But if you have Brady and Cousins, he's definitely worth stashing. Sport Dog, John, help me decide. What's up, man? 12-team half PPR, starting Jones. Could go with Gainwell or Williams. Any opinion? Should I go with Jones in his tough matchup or make a switch? You're definitely starting Aaron Jones. He's definitely a player who it doesn't like matchup doesn't matter. You're starting Aaron Jones. Don't go Kenneth Gainwell or Jamal Williams over Aaron Jones. No way. No way, no way. Yep. Leave Aaron Jones in your lineup. It'll be all right. Derek, start Carr or Herbert. Ooh. I mean, obviously you want to start Herbert, but you're in a conundrum, aren't you? Because he may or may not play. And the Raiders play at 1 o'clock. I mean, I like Carr this week. I really do. I think Carr's got a great matchup, Derek. So if you have to go Carr, which you might have to, because if you don't, then you just, like, you're banking on, you have to have a quarterback who's playing in the later games, right? So if you don't start Carr and Herbert doesn't play, then you have to have Trevor Lawrence, Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray, Mariota, Geno Smith, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Jimmy G, Russell Wilson, Cooper Rush, or Daniel Jones. So obviously some of those guys you're not going to have. In terms of actual, for Herbert owners, okay? In terms of actual potential streaming options in the later afternoon games, Trevor Lawrence is a potential stream, but the ceiling's capped. Like, he's still a potential stream, but I would give the nod to the Chargers defense. But we got to think outside the box here, right? Marcus Mariota is a good call. Senior Cinnabon already bringing that one up. Mariota versus the Seahawks. We haven't seen high ceilings involved for Mariota, but like a solid 17 points is fair enough. Trevor Lawrence, if I remember correctly, had about 22 points in week 1, then about 15 in week 2. You might be I might be flopping those. There might be another way there. But Jimmy G versus the Broncos is someone you could consider. And then Daniel Jones versus the Cowboys. Although Daniel Jones is probably my least favorite out of the 4 players. I'd probably go Mariota, then Jimmy G, then Lawrence, then Danny Dimes. You probably aren't going to have an opportunity to have Kyler Murray, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson. And I don't think Cooper Rush or Geno Smith need to be in this conversation. So there you go, Herbert owners. Let's see here. Do you have concerns of James Conner this season, given his ankle injury and his career history with injuries and lackluster performance so far? Steven is just out to get James Conner. Man, he should have just let him fall to me in the draft. I would be so much happier with James Conner on my team. No, I don't have concerns. I mean, 15.5 fantasy points in week 1 in a game that they are playing from behind the entire game is not a bad fantasy day. Week 2 isn't really a bad fantasy stat line either because he got hurt. He got hurt pretty early. So he had 2 receptions, 25 rushing yards. Like, I get it's not crazy, but he still had 7.1 points in full PPR after exiting the game. So do I have concerns? No, I don't. Any chance of James Conner finishing top 12? More like 13 to 24. The way running backs are playing right now, I mean, 13 to 24 is probably more realistic, but top 15 back in the second round is not bad in your scenario there. Let's see here. Timothy, should I sit Herbert for Mariota? So here's the thing, right? You're in a good position because you're going to have time more than likely to decide. Like, we're going to know. Like, Herbert's going to throw before the game. So we're going to know, and then Mariota plays in the afternoon slate at 4:25. So if Herbert does not play, then you go Mariota. If Herbert is listed as healthy and playing, then you start Herbert. Should I sit Keenan Allen for Ayuk, Lazard, or Judy? It just depends. Once again, we don't know for sure if Allen's going to play. If Allen's listed as healthy and Herbert's listed as healthy, you'll probably start Keenan Allen. If not, I go Jerry Jeudy. This is the weird league. Weirdest league I've ever been in. 2.2 points per tackle for IDP. Miles Jack netted me 26 in that league. Yikes. Jeez. Would you rather have Miles Sanders or T. Higgins? I probably overall rather have T. Higgins. I mean, it depends on the scoring format, but probably rather have T. Higgins. Sanders playing good football, though. Pollard or Chase Edmonds, full PPR. I'd probably go Pollard at the moment. Fantasy Beast, what's up, man? Start Brady or pick up Goff? I'm going to start Goff, but I'm trying to figure out who to drop for him. I would probably start Goff this week. I think Brady's a sit for me if you have better streaming options available. I think that Goff is a great streaming option and a good game script. Gosh, this is where we're at in 2022. Considering starting Jared Goff over Tom Brady. I mean, when you look at, like, there's two quarterbacks who I'm not in love with this week. Is Brady and Rodgers. Brady 11.38 fantasy points in week 1, 8.4 in week 2. And then when you look at A-Rod on the other hand, it's very, very close overall to what we're seeing with Brady, right? Rodgers is sitting at 3.7 in week 1, then 15.3 in week 2. And when you look at the gel of these two teams, like, they're relying on the run game and they're relying on their defense, especially the Buccaneers. So, listen, it's still Brady and Rodgers. Like, they can still throw 4 or 5 touchdowns any day. But if you have better streaming options and better game scripts this week, I probably like a player like Jared Goff more here in week 3. The other thing is, like, Brady, all his receivers are hurt, and Mike Evans is suspended this game. So, and then even though Lazard came on last week and scored a touchdown and everything, it's like the Packers receivers are still up in the air. So, like, Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, Leonard Fournette are probably all going to be heavily utilized, and then you're looking to the defense to make some plays. So, I just don't love the game script or the scenario for Brady. I know I went into a little bit of Rodgers there, but I'd rather start Goff this week. Hey, I got you, Derek, of course, man. J-Dub's starting Goff over Brady. Yeah, I like that. Let's see. John, I'm using tight end Hayden Hurst, but I could pick up Evan Ingram off waivers. 12-team hat PPR. What are your thoughts? I'd probably go Hayden Hurst. I like both. Both are good streaming options, by all means. I like both of them as streaming options, but Hayden Hurst, 8 targets week 1, 7 in week 2 against the Jets. He was limited today to groin injury, maybe something to pay attention. He's listed as questionable, so maybe do go with Ingram. I think the game script is probably better for Hurst. Ingram, 4 targets week 1, 8 in week 2, 11.6 fantasy points in week 2, 46 receiving yards. So it's half PPR. I don't see a crazy ceiling for either of these guys. It's way too hard to call who might score a touchdown. The game script's probably better for Hurst, but like I said, he's listed as questionable at the moment, so maybe go Ingram. Nick, what's up, man? What do you think of Curtis Samuel this week? I really think that Washington might be the only team I can really think of right now where you can start all 3 receivers out of their receiving core. Like, you can start Curtis Samuel, you can start Dotson, you can start Scary Terry. And not have to worry about it. You know, Scary Terry is probably my least favorite start this week because he's going to draw Darius Slay. So I probably like Dotson and Samuel a hair more within this matchup against the Eagles, who defensively are playing good football. So I like Curtis Samuel this week for sure. Who do you think will be better rest of season, Javonte or Debo? It's an interesting comparison. 2 very different players. I mean, I'd probably go Debo if you're thinking about like a trade or something. I'd probably go Debo. J-Dub's bringing up a good point about Debo stock maybe moving up with Jimmy G out there. But, yeah, overall, I go Debo. Logan Thomas or Tanyan rest of season. I'd probably go Logan Thomas. I mean, Carson Wentz historically loves the tight end position. So, Tanyan, we haven't seen really, like, come into that mold necessarily. With the absence of Devontae Adams. Let's see. Steven talking about how he loves James Conner. Don't believe that. It's not true. He's a James Conner hater. Should I trade Javonte Williams for Derrick Henry? I don't have a problem with it. Javonte's seen more like PPR value. I'm not totally against it. I just worry about this Titans offense. Like, I'm not totally against it if that's where your conviction is at, but I'd probably hold Javonte personally. I do think that the Broncos have more to prove on the season, you know. I'd probably hold Javonte. Both those offenses just look kind of abysmal, but I have more faith in the Broncos offense turning it around than the Titans at the moment. DJ Moore, Hollywood Brown. I go Hollywood Brown. Pray, I don't care. I thought Brady would outscore, or Goff would outscore Brady. I would not start Goff. Goff's going to have a good week, man, but that's fine. Smart QB2 in the Superflex League, Jimmy G or Mayfield. I would go Jimmy G for sure, Anthony, for sure. In my double quarterback league, I have Hurts and Herbert. And, man, I wanted Jimmy G off waivers because Baker's my QB3. And I might be starting, I might have to start Baker. Like, it's such a gamble to pay if I don't start Baker, which I hate. Part of me is just like, I'm just going to stick with Herbert. If he doesn't play, I'm just going to take the L. All right, Jason, I have Singletary, Burks, Hendo, Harmon, Brady, Cousins on bench. Who should I drop for Dak? Probably Hardman. If you can roll with 3 quarterbacks, probably Hardman. Yeah, Brady did have a finger accident. Like, something to do with throwing knives. Cut the tip of his finger off on his throwing hand. I wonder if there's an update on Sleeper about that. So add to the injury report, still expected to play. Brady was added to the injury report Friday with a right finger injury. Okay, this doesn't give us anything. Yeah, apparently he hurt it. In like a throwing knife. I don't know. I didn't read enough about this. Something to do with throwing knives. I have JT, Mixon, Jamar, CD, Kirk, AJ, Dillon, Pitts, Brees Hall, Wentz, Edmonds, Akers, Juju, and Burks. Half PPR. 2 running back, 2 receiver, 2 flex, 1 tight end. Who should I go for and get rid of? Well, it depends, Mark. Are you looking to do a trade, or are you just talking about the waiver wire in general? So you're probably starting with JT, Mixon, Jamar, CD, Kirk. Oh, wait, it's 1 flex. So you're probably starting JT, Mixon, Jamar, CD, and then Kirk is your flex. It's a good squad. So, and you're starting Pitts. So it leaves you with Brees Hall, Wentz, Edmonds, Akers, Juju, and Burks. I mean, you can move on from Juju, in my opinion. Is Wentz your QB1? I mean, it's fine if he is. Yeah, you can move on from... I mean, Edmonds, Akers, Juju are all disposable. I would hold on to Brees Hall and Burks because of the upside involved, but those other guys are disposable. I don't know if you really need to make a trade. Like, your team's pretty solid, man. But those are definitely your disposable players. Give me your J-Rob in full PPR. Gibson probably offers more value in full PPR at the moment, but I like J-Rob a little bit more overall. Curtis Wilson or Garrett Wilson. So Curtis Samuel or Garrett Wilson, I'm assuming. I'd go with Curtis Samuel. But Wilson's going to have a good game as well. Steven's going to bed. Good night, Steven. Love you, bro. Steven Joe, what up? Traded CMC for St. Brown, Javonte. We'll see how it goes. I think that's a good trade. I think it's a good trade. Timothy, by the way, my team is Herbert, Eckler, Mixon, Keenan Allen, Juju, Shep, Dylan Ertz, Bills defense, and Koo. Will Juju turn up or should I drop him? I would say he's disposable. I think I read a stat today that the Chiefs have thrown 6 touchdowns to different receivers on the season. And that includes Juju, Sky Moore, and MVS all not catching a touchdown. And I think that included tight ends as well, but still. It may have included running backs, but still, those 3 guys have not scored a touchdown. Yeah, you can move on from Juju, in my opinion. You're going to see way too much inconsistency. After the view, what's good, my guy? We trusting Herbert this weekend? You might have to. If you don't, we talked a bit about this already, but like you're going to have to roll with Trevor Lawrence, Marcus Mariota, Jimmy G are probably your best options. So it's a gamble to leave him in your starting lineup if one of those other guys is not available. Kenobi, what do you think about Pollard this week? I like him against the Giants. I really do. I think he's going to have a solid week. Yeah, I like Pollard. John, I still have time to pick up a QB to replace Hurts in week 7, but not much left in my 12-team league. Mariota, Winston, or Tannehill. Should I grab a QB now or just wait a bit? Week 7, I mean, it's definitely possible that another quarterback emerges. I'd probably go Mariota overall. Still play with broken ribs. I'm rolling with Herb. Man, I'm telling you. My double QB league, I might just leave him in. Scary Terry, J-Rob, or Ayuk in full PPR. I probably still go Scary Terry for the safest floor. James Robinson for a little bit more upside. So, I mean, Scary Terry draws Darius Slay, who's looked really good in the last 2 weeks. Maybe you go James Robinson, but I think Scary Terry's still a fine enough floor. Kirk against Chargers defense or Garrett Wilson. I still go Christian Kirk. I'm not worried about the defense. I think Christian Kirk's gonna have a good day. Should I trade AJ Dillon and Juju for Debo? Yes. Yeah. For sure, Mark. Yeah, it's a good trade. Is Jared Williams a better add to my bench than Eno Benjamin? It's a good question. We don't really know what the pattern's going to look like fully. Like last week when Connor was out, Williams had the better fantasy day. He was the one who found the end zone. If Connor's out this week, we could see something different. We could see the same. We don't really we have a small sample size to work with, so I think you're kind of flipping a coin either way, but I like either one. Would you trade Deontay for CD? Probably. But I think both are in a very similar spot. Emmy, what's up? Damien Pierce, Henderson, or Harris for the flex. Full PPR, scared to play Judy. I'd probably go Henderson. Pollard and Gallup for CD. I would do that for sure, Damien. Yeah. If you're getting the CD side, yeah. Do I trade Mixon or Swift for Lenny and Keenan Allen? I have Herbert. I'm 0-2. Shoot, man. I love Mixon and I love Swift. If you have to give up one, I guess it's Mixon. Keep Swift for sure. Brady hurt on a handoff. The knife thing was a joke. Oh, is that for real? I didn't. Yeah, like I said, I didn't read a lot into it. I just saw something about it. Which 3 would you start? Deontay, Pittman, Higgins, Amon-Ra. Sorry for all the questions. You're good. Well, I'm assuming that's Deontay Johnson, who already played, right? So he probably already started Deontay. So probably Higgins and Amon-Ra. I mean, I'm not out on Pittman, but I think you might need some upside if you already started Johnson. So you're definitely starting Amon-Ra. Guys, Amon-Ra is in our starting lineups, like, no matter what, moving forward. But I'll probably go Higgins by a hair over Pittman. Let's see. Adam, you cost me week 2. Uh-oh, what happened? You play with my bag, man. Well, hey, I always tell you guys, if you're playing for money or you're betting or anything, like, it's still your call at the end of the day. But, hey, man, at the end of the day, it's just my humble opinion, and you can take it or leave it, and sorry about it. Let's see. I have Sutton, Pittman, DJ Moore. After that, it's suspect. Ayuk, Mooney, Renfro, or Cooper. So, yeah, it is a little suspect. What if I have him mix in? Lenny seems like a close replacement, then I get Allen for the stack. Yeah, I just wouldn't give up. I wouldn't give up Swift personally. Chase, what's up, man? Hey, John. Greg D, Heinz, or Gage? I will go with Greg Dortch for sure. I would definitely go with Greg Dortch. Thoughts, should I trade JT for Tyreek Hill, Miles Sanders? It's close. It's not a bad trade. But I think you hold on to JT and see, like, because you're kind of selling JT low right now. It's not an awful trade, but I would probably hold and see what other type of pattern emerges for JT, because, like, if he has one more game like week 1 and then a game where he's like halfway in what he did in week 1, then, like, you're going to be able to sell him for even higher. So I would probably hold unless you're, like, decimated at receiver. My QB question, I forgot that Garoppolo is still available. Between Mariota and Garoppolo, still go with Mariota. I think you can flip a coin here. Like, I think both are fine. The better matchup lies with Mariota. Jimmy G's probably the better passer, of course. Jimmy G's got the Broncos. I don't love that game script for the Broncos and Niners. Maybe I just stick with Mariota. I don't know. What do you think, chat? Jimmy G or Mariota? Let's see here. Let's see. Andrew, have a good night. Are you guys on Lenny, low end RB1? Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. I mean, I think the bigger concern is, will Leonard Fournette get hurt? 21 rushing attempts in week 1, 24 in week 2. I think low end, especially since he hasn't gotten the end zone, and this offense just isn't as explosive. The other dynamic here is last year he had 84 targets, 69 receptions. I don't know what the average is there, but so far he has 6 targets, 4 receptions on the year. So the pass catching element for Fournette was far different last year. So low end RB1's fair. He doesn't like Lenny when he's healthy, for sure. Haven't seen as many catch out the backfield. Yeah, I know it. What's up, Stober? Bix says Mariota. Stober says Jimmy G. Bears or Denver's defense this week? I'd probably go with the Bears. Sonabon, I'm not a fan of Lenny for some reason. Has a bad taste in my mouth. I'm a big running back fan, so I feel like having a high-end RB is better. Yeah, I think the biggest thing, like one of the reasons I liked Fournette, like at his value in drafts going in the season was because of the pass catching element between him and Brady last year, and we just haven't seen that this year. And like I said, the offense as a whole is just not as explosive. It's not good in terms of red zone touches. Mike, we got you, bro, of course. Is Gibson stock value declining? By Brian Robinson on IR. Well, most people are assuming that it is, but like we still haven't seen this backfield with a healthy Brian Robinson out there, so it's like we're still playing a hypothetical, just like we did going into the season. And then what happened? As soon as we got in to the actual season, well, Antonio Gibson actually is playing pretty good fantasy football, you know? And actually, for that matter, pretty good football as a whole with 20 fantasy points in week 1, 12.1 in week 2. He looks involved in the passing game, 12 targets on the season, 9 receptions. I think the bigger issue for Gibson this week is the matchup against Philly. So it like in the fantasy community, to answer your question, yeah, his stock is declining, but I'm not out on him quite yet. Not. Kenobi says comes out to around 5.5 targets a game. Thank you for the math. Yeah, I guess we quite haven't seen that this year. Thoughts on Rashad Bateman this week? I think at this point, Bateman's got to be in your starting lineups. Like, undoubtedly, right? 13.9 points in week 1, 20.8 in week 2 against New England. I'm not afraid of New England. I'm not. I'm fine with Bateman this week. Oliver, Miles Sanders, or James Robinson at flex this week. I like both. I'll go Robinson by a hair. Should I trade Pollard for Olave? My running backs are Barkley, Javonte, J-Rob, and Edmonds. I would keep Pollard personally. I like Pollard a little bit more than Olave at the moment. Let's see here. Denver doesn't look good. I think Surtain is hurt. I know, man. It sucks. I think Ravens have a big bounce back game. I agree. I like the Ravens this week. Hybrid Harry. What's up, man? Appreciate you stopping in. Always good to see you in the chat. What's up, man? Hello, hello, hello. I would try and trade Edmonds for Olave instead. I kind of like that call. I'd rather have Pollard than Edmonds. Eagles defense or Ravens defense? I like both. I'd probably go the Ravens. I like both. I do feel like Washington can make some, you know, some strides later in the game if they don't start off well. I'm not bullish on an offense outside of Thomas. I agree with that. Ravens have a ton of injuries piling up, per usual. Cinnabon, how many tabs do you have open right now? We got Tom Brady. We got Herbert. We got Gabe Davis. We got a mock draft for some reason. And we got Josh Jacobs. But they're all closed now. Who's my better second flex option this week at PPR? Options are Carter, Juju, Akers, Dotson. Definitely Carter or Dotson. I would roll with Dotson personally. Yeah, definitely Carter or Dotson. I don't mind Carter by any means. 17 points in week 1, 10 in week 2. He gets Cincinnati. Half PPR, you can definitely consider Carter here. Dotson's a fine option, though. Gibson or Pierce, Hollywood or Devonta Smith this week? I'd probably go Gibson. I'd probably go Hollywood. Tough choices there, Stober. It's close. Let's see here. Do they have points for air yards? Never heard of that stat before in my life. I mean, I feel like leagues now have a stat for anything that they want. I mean, points for anything that they want, so it's possible. Edmonds or Pollard this season? I will go Pollard. How do we feel about Nyheim Heinz this week? I feel like he's a little risky every week. 10.4 in week 1, 7.7 week 2 against Kansas City. He's got 11 targets on the season. I just don't love Nyheim Heinz. Like, yeah, the Colts could be playing from behind again, but even then, he only had 6 targets in week 1. And then 5 in week 2. I guess they've been playing behind in both games, right? I'm just not crazy about Heinz, even in full PPR. Other Ravens D, I'm a bit concerned. I'm thinking of Eagles or Houston or Bears. I feel Washington can def score. Yeah, I feel like the Eagles are going to probably be able to cause some turnovers, but I feel like Washington's going to stay in it. So, Houston or the Bears. I'd probably go the Bears. I don't mind the Ravens. Like, I don't know if they have a crazy high ceiling, but I do feel like they have a good enough matchup that they'll be all right. Cooks and McLaurin at wide receiver 2 this week. Oh, I'd probably go Cooks. Just because McLaurin has Darius Slay. I don't mind going Scary Terry there. I mean, Cooks 15.2 in week 1, 9.4 in week 2. He gets Chicago. I'd probably go Cooks. This could be one of those games where Cooks pops. What's up, Slade? J-Dub's bet against Bears if you're concerned. Always bet against the Bears, says Cinnabum. When in doubt, bet on whoever's playing them. After their view says, unless it's a monsoon in Chicago, that's a good call. Carson always throws an interception. Yeah, that's fair. I just think the ceiling could be capped because the way that Washington's playing right now, I think they're still going to put up some points. I really do. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, Carson's going to throw interceptions. That's what he does. So, all right, boys and girls, we're going to go ahead and start winding things down. It's been about an hour. So we've got our starts and sits at quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end out. We've got must-start defenses and kickers out. So we've got a full report. I don't know where I got the word report. We've got everything you need on the week out there. I'll be on tomorrow, Saturday night, for some late-night fantasy Q&A. And then Sunday we'll stream sometime between 10 and 11 before Sunday's kickoff at 1 o'clock. Sport Dog, John, here's my 12-team starting lineup for week 3. Hurts, Williams, Thomas, Swift, Jones, Hurst, and Cooks. Do you see anything you might change? Thanks for the help. This is a really good squad, man. This is a great squad. Yeah, if you got to roll with Hurst, that's fine. That's fine, man. I like this team. I think you're fine. We got you, Emmy. Underdog team, check-in. Yeah, I guess we didn't get to any underdog, did we? Let's take a look at the injuries very quickly. Well, just fantasy football alerts. So Kittle's going to play. We know that. Fournette's questionable. Renfro's out. Josh Jacobs is sick. Chris Godwin's out. Sammy Watkins is out. Christian Watson, Randall Cobb, David Bakhtiari are all good. Alan Lazard good to go. We already know the deal with Herbie. Hawkinson is limited. Swift is questionable. J-Dub says Pittman is healthy. That's good news. Jerry Jeudy practice. He should be good to go. Todd Bull says Cole Beasley could play versus the Packers. Julio Jones is a game time call. Not good for Brady. James Conner is a game time decision. Romeo Doubie maybe getting a bigger role in week 3. Dalton Schultz is progressing well. Seems he's off the injury report. David Njoku went crazy on Thursday night. Keenan Allen was limited. Gabe Davis 100% confident he will play. Well, there's an update that we didn't have earlier. Michael Gallup potentially returning quickly soon this week. Man, Rondell Moore still hasn't played this year. What a bummer. J.K. Dobbins had a full practice Wednesday. That's pretty good updates there. How about Njoku after dropping him? I know it, man. Yeah, solid Gabe Davis update. Son of Bun, I took an entire shot after my second pick during the Catch Fam League draft and finished before my third pick. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and wind things down. It's been a long week, so my energy is still a little bit off from COVID and everything, but a good stream nonetheless tonight. I appreciate you guys coming out for sure. It's a good hour-long stream. We got some good fantasy Q&A in tonight, but I'll be on tomorrow night for a little bit longer. Saturday night, late stream. We'll stream for a minute. Tomorrow will be a good long stream, and then Sunday we'll have a nice long stream before kickoff as well. Have a great night after the review. Appreciate you stopping in. I'll be back tomorrow for the last minute adjustments. Let's go. Have a great night, Sport Dog. Always good to have you. Guys, I appreciate you guys, man. Everyone who stopped in tonight, everyone who hung out, everyone who listened in, any new subscribers, any of the OG subscribers. Appreciate you guys so much, man. Appreciate you guys for being here tonight. Really does mean a lot to me. So, we'll wind things down there. We love Faye. Chat. Damien Pierce, James Robinson, or Jeff Wilson, I'm assuming, at Flex, half PPR. I would go James Robinson, personally. I go Robinson, Pierce, then Wilson. So, probably Robinson for me. Cinnabon, have a good night as well. All right, man, y'all know what to do. Hit that like button on the way out. Hit that subscribe button on the way out. Of course, if you are new to the channel, check out all the links down below. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to join the Discord. That way you guys can get your fantasy questions out at any time of day. And like I said, I'll be back on tomorrow night for some late night fantasy Q&A, and I'll be on Sunday before kickoff. So still have plenty of time to get to your guys' fantasy questions if you guys did not get them in tonight. So appreciate you guys, man. Everyone have a great night, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. With that, I got nothing else to say, but thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on The Catch. And